That's tradition.
So they're able to do the Chipata, some nyanja here and there.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and how's about 10:20? Good to know that we're together on the number one radio station, Breeze, broadcasting live from the heart of Eastern Province, right in Chipata City. Ngati mwango segula kumene mawiresi yanu takula ndani kuna gosambetsera kampepo kaya ziazi Chipata City Chadiza mambo. You're getting us live on 89.3 FM Lundazi Nyimba Petaoke. Yours is 89.7 FM or 98.5. We have Katete as well as Sinda getting us live on those frequencies. Not forgetting those that are glued listening to Breeze via internet on Simple Live Radio, TuneIn, Radio Garden, and a number of platforms that you're able to access your favorite radio station, Breeze. We're live on a Breeze FM Facebook page. We are also live on a number of radio stations across Eastern Province in Petaoke, Pasme. We're live. We're live Kwenje FM in Chama. We are live on Chikaya in Ndazi, Pangwe in Katete. Good to know that we are together. Takulandirani makamaka kuna kukosa vetsera kampepo kaya ziazi. My name is Justin Mwanza. Tikarere mozi in the next hour or so. Makamaka kuone sesa pankani zosia na siana zamedzakala kuona hapo makamaka. And could be we some weeks or so just coming from general elections. Tikaro kamba ponkani zosia na siana makamaka. In the studio, I'm happy to mention that we are joined by EEP President Chilufya Tayali, who is right here. Just come and walk us through why is in Eastern Province visiting us. Obviously, we'll get to describe the recent held elections. Karokamba Ponkania Zosia Nasiana. At a later stage, we'll be able to give you a chance to perhaps say hi or throw in one or two comments as we get into discussion. Welcome to Eastern Province. Welcome to Breeze FM.
Ziko Mukwambili, I'm very happy to be here. Natokoza kwambili kunipasa mpata yo kalapa program yanu. I intended to come here before the elections,
right? But
I couldn't manage. So apa napeza kukantao festi niende niwoneko wabare ku Eastern Province, and here I am. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
How are you finding Eastern Province so far?
Well, I just arrived this morning. And,
is that so?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I arrived this morning, and I was nicely welcomed. I had my good breakfast, and so far so good. Yeah.
Your breakfast obviously included our delicacy, perhaps you call it mouse or something.
You people are very stingy. You people are very stingy. You are very stingy, Mwantua Kume.
Well, what did we do?
I mean, I've come. Mkaribu wanipasa kombeva. Mkaribu wanipasa kwa ati kapena uyu ndani akusambe kukumanja na kumendo. mwamene mama ine ndine mfumu nikafika kuno mfunika, you know, you treat me nicely. I hope after this program I'll be able to find somebody to wash my hands and my feet.
We've taken note. Dear listener, there EPP President Chilufya Tayali with us, a prominent figure in Zambian politics and social commentary, known for his outspoken and views and active engagements in a number of conversations. Perhaps before we even get to Nkani ya Masanko Magamaka.
Yes.
Vantu vangafuna kuziva vangokumva kuti Chilufya Tayali nantotana Chilufya Tayali. Maybe just in a minute or so.
Yeah, so ine monga mwamene mwakambira ndine Chilufya Tayali. Ndine president wa chipani cha Economic and Equity Party, mwachidule EEP. And chipani chimene chinamba kudala, tinamba mu 2016. That's when we started. And we have participated in elections in Chinsali as well as in Lusaka. Koma tikali kuyamba yamba, so sinapambane bwino iyae koma tinaye sako.
Okay.
And manje apa we are just coming from an election. Muzi wa my elections yakapita, ija campaign period, campaign period ya sira. So now nintao yakuti you go around, just visit your brothers and sisters, without carrying a heavy load of politics. Nizi wa bantu bambiri wakaniona chabe bafuna ndale manje iwe ntao ya kampeni ya sila manja apa tienti kambisane bwino monga abale. So that is exactly what I'm doing, and I came here. I didn't come here to campaign. I mean, the elections are gone. I came here simply to engage with people. Simply to engage with people as brothers and sisters, as Zambians. Take it easy. Kampeni inasira. Manja hapa ni kubwera pamozi. Zambia is one country. So we should embrace each other after, a serious electoral contest that we had in the last election.
Describing it electrical, obviously, now that you've touched on the issues of elections, maybe you can also describe the recent held elections. Would you term it free and fair? Perhaps just your description. Let's hear from you.
Yes. I tell you, my brother, this election that we had, ngati tiangane kumbuyo kwa mene tachokera, ntau ya ma election kwenzo nkala bwanji. Ngati tibwerele kumbuyo first tikambe kati 2021, 2016, 2015, there used to be a lot of violence. Musokonozo maningi. But this election was different. This is an election where once wajava ma opposition, for example, they were free to go and campaign. Nakuno wanabwera, ma opposition. There was nothing like iyosunga ende huku, ma president wali huku, President akainde ichilema. Some people were worried because on the schedule, President Akainde Ichilema was not included there. And people thought that they will experience what they used to experience during PF. Ijayakuti, mwafika kuchipata, mvwela, ndeke ili mururu. Manje wa president was Africa. So, simunga nkana na meeting yanu. We never experienced that. So, we had a very peaceful election. Very, very peaceful election. Of course, but kuja tunaona pa social media, tunaona chan. Of course, we are human beings, so here and there you would have situations, but really, over and above everything, this election was peaceful. Then, of course, you have asked, was it fair? Was it free and fair? Indeed, it was free and fair, because to start with, the electorates freely went and voted. We didn't have a situation where electorates are being intimidated, you know, no, you have to do this. No, zija mingala to zija kunalibe this time. Vantu wenzoenda chabe mwa ufuru wao to go and vote. Then ECZ conducted itself very well. And mind you, my elections, see day of voter here. My elections, they start way before that date of voting. And it involves preparation. And in that preparation, we saw a number of candidates filing in their nomination. Venangu pa independent, venangu pa mapati yo siana. From there, venzo print ma ballot papers, kumakalati yo ma ballot papers, wazaba, what, vanavatenga wonse ku Dubai. Kwa mene wana print ma ballot papers. They witnessed everything. My ballot papers came, they witnessed everything. Distribution of ballot papers, they witnessed everything. The day of voting, we had no situation where atiai polling agent chankarabwanji. I think I had one or two incidences, but really over and above everything went well. The counting and the announcing of results. I mean, ECZ did a good job before. They had actually put a deadline that they will announce the presidential elections on the 17th. And I think they tried to live by that, except that at one point there was some incidences in some polling stations, so they had to suspend that process, which made them go into the 18th. Otherwise, they would have finished on the 17th, as they promised, but they had to go into the 18th because of musokonezo wamene unapezeka mwinanguma polling station. So, free and fair, this election was free and fair, and it was peaceful.
Right. Now, having looked at that, let's get your reactions also to some election observers, local and international, who have spotted irregularities in the electoral process. It could be some of the issues you're able to touch on them here and there. Let's get your reactions in terms of some of the irregularities. Yeah,
for example, Caritas, they brought out an issue to say there were some discrepancies in terms of the figures that were announced, at the polling station and at the totaling center. And I think they were talking about 30 or so.
That's right.
And but what is consoling is that while they noted that, yes, wanaona tia tuma numbers tunangu tunasiyanako kuna huku tunasiyanako pangono. But banabwela wakambatia, although kwenze tuma discrepancies, ma numbers yenzo siyanako pangono, but haka inde ichilema eve kuwina anawina because ngati mukambe ma discrepancies yamena kusiana kwa tuma numbers mukatifaka pamoja tuma numbers tuamene uto situfika kuli 1 million yamene haka inde ichilema anawina nayo. So this is normal. You are talking about 13,536 polling stations throughout the country. You cannot expect that everything will just go smooth. There will be to my instances. 13,500. That is a lot. So if you are talking about 13,500 and then you have to my issues in 30 constituencies or polling stations, I think unless ndio mundu wovuta chabe kuli vantu venango niwovuta iwe koma uverenge 13,500 uyambopanga chongo pali tuma polling stations to 30. So essentially those discrepancies all in all did not affect the outcome of the elections. You cannot say this election was not free and fair because the marginal error is very minimal,
including the temporary suspension of counting on the 14th of August. We saw ECZ temporarily suspended counting after reports of violence targeting election officials.
Very good. Wakambabu Justin hapo inkani tifunika tikambe po bwino
makamaka
chifukwa vantu vambiri problem yamene tili nayo pali ntawi ni social media. Vantu vambiri vakambisisa maningi ukamupeza so olo ni muba vinali so akamba nkani saziva na bwino koma amvera chabe winango akamba then pa social media pamene hapa vantu vakaona chapa pa social media anything vavomera iyayi ukani mwe vantu vaku Eastern Province kuno osati vaziminyenga iyayi. Listen, follow the facts. So anyway, this issue, you know, in Lusaka and other areas, there were people that had planned. They had planned to destabilize the election. Wako opposition, wanazi watu wazaluza my elections. So, when they were counting, they wanted to destabilize everything. So that kubere kunkale musokonezo.
Oh, it was the opposition who had planned that?
Yes, okay. Yes. And look, what happened is that in some areas, they managed to end up my ballot papers. I'm sure when I work on social media, banaba my ballot papers. Manje pamene waba my ballot papers, you know, you have to find a way of accounting. Okay? You have to find a way of accounting. So, before things get worse, isize dinabwera ya imika. Embekezan first. Because what was going to happen was either confusion in the country or venangu sembe vanabwere samo ma ballot papers. Vana printa ma ballot papers kuli vantu vamene vana printa ma ballot papers ku South Africa. And bezofuna kuti vachinje bafakemo yao, you know, bachosemo yaja genuine. So it was a preventive measure by ECZ. Nichmozi ngati wasovesa ndalama munyumba. I mean, what do you do first? Did you continue with your business? No, first kuimika. Varani nyumba, varani first. Wamene walipo, tient seche. Ndani wamena, you know, that kind of thing. So it was a preventive measure. It had nothing to do with the ECZ trying to steal elections for anyone. No, it was because of how some people started behaving, how some people wanted to disrupt the elections. That is why.
We are live on a number of radio stations across Eastern Province, in Katete, Mpangwe FM. We are in Kwenje, in Chama Pasme, in Petaoke, in Chikaya, in Birundazi, Chikaya. We're also live on a Breeze FM Facebook page in the studio, playing host to EEP President Chilufya Tayali, who is a prominent figure in Zambian politics and social commentary. Now, let's also talk about strange things that occurred during the elections. A number of arrests were made. But some of them are still in and also the shooting of Kafwaya. Are these justified?
Well,
let's spend more time there.
First of all, let me say to the family of late Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya. I sincerely offer my condolences to the family and to all those who were close to Mtoto Kafwaya. Is somebody that I knew, is a friend of mine, and it is unfortunate that he had to lose a life in this way. It shouldn't be. So there is no justification that anyone should lose his or her life because of an election. Now, the problem which was there in this election, like I had earlier said, problem makamaka amenenzepo niyakuti. Abenangu baku opposition, some of my fellow opposition leaders, because nine in opposition, some of the opposition leaders, they didn't go in this election to participate fairly and squarely. No, they didn't. The issue is that they knew that they are going to lose this election. So they had prepared other alternatives. Ati apangati siviza sevenza, atiza sevenzesa hivi. And what is it that they did? And if vamena nikamba, sikuti I'm just fabricating vanga. Excuse me. Yeah. Taenda usiku wonse so kampepo kachita kangena mchest.
Kampepo kazi yes.
Kangena mchest. That's why fe bifunika unikandeko. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they had prepared alternative means which, if the security wings did not act, we would have had problems. And these things sikuti nina mizira muntu yai. You know, pamene tinamba chabe my elections. Kunali bantu pamene wenzo bwera pa ma radio, pa social media, no kamba. My elections aya. Stizaruza yai. Stizaruza. We are ready. Kupaya muntu. Na kufa. We are ready kufa. Kupaya muntu. Stizaruza yai. Stizaruza. Then benangu banabwera batuma bantu. Banatuma bantu ku Russia. Banatuma bantu ku Russia kwenda chita kwenda punzira. Vau military, vau soldier. And then apart from that, they acquired guns and other dangerous weapons. Vanakara na futi, vanagura mfuti, menze na mfuti. So manje imwe muyangane. Muzako akambati, my elections aya. Kulibe vakuti chakuti, ndine ni winner. Hello, I'm ready to unalive you or for me to die for it. I mean, and then next abwera wakambati yai vantu wamene wanaenda kurasha bagwiriwa. Next muona mukampeni mfuti zenzolira tinaziona mfuti. So awa vantu vanachita plani yoipa maningi. Yoipa, which is not good for our country. They prepared for this election not as a political contestation, but it was like a war. During the elections, immediately after elections, tinavota pa 13. Pa 14, our brand mundu beli wanachoka atina wina. Isi zedi wakali yambo chita announce. Vanabwera wakamba wa mundu bila TI ine na wina kudala. Murusaka kaya kuno, but murusaka vantu vanachoka ma streets. Vanaenda ku city market muntu wanga. Pamene paja so kwenda ku city market. Tabwera manje mwezo ona monga siza bwera. Tibwera tiranda market. Ni market yatu. So if you look at these things, they are my brothers, but no, there is something that what they were doing was not good. And then vamene ava vantu vamene vanagwira vanaenda ku Russia. Ninachito penyamo na manso. These people, what they went to train is not good for our country. And mind,
I like the fact that you've mentioned them, Nacho Penyamo na Manso, because what is going around is that these are just made up stories.
No. Musamverele. I'm telling you, don't listen to those people who are trying to cover it up. Boza, they are made stories. No. But they are made up stories. Awa wantu bazaenda kumakoti. Manje, mirandu zao zaenda kukoti. Muzawa ona na imwe. Ineva vena ngwapa. Niwaziwa no waziwa. I had to. Niwazindikira kuti uyu na uyu. There are people that I know. And I saw what they were doing there. Because kaidi wenzo zikopa ma picture. Wenzo ma picture, chanchani, whatever.
Which people are those?
But many wanaenda kurasha.
Ni watu.
What do you mean? Ufuna nikambe mazina?
You're saying you know.
No. Sininga kambe mazina here, because I mean this is an ongoing investigation.
Being investigated. Right.
And then afterwards, of course, many people have been arrested. And those who have been arrested, they have not been arrested because they were political giant. They have been arrested because they have been mentioned. Pamene vanabagwira ndiye manje vanambo ulula. Pamene vanambo ulula kuti uyu anachita chaso. And that's how they have been rounding up people and arresting them. Then talking about the 30th day of where a number of people were arrested at Brand Mundu village in Kablong. I mean, ava vantu vanatira secret meeting chamene venzochita discuss ni chani, vamene venzokambisana ni chani. After vachita declare ati aitawina, then babwera vankala, mundime usiku, they were talking. And the question is, vamene venzokambisana muja munyumba mukabulonga mukudu road ni chani venzochita discuss chani. And you know problem yamene vanandi nayo ni yakuti vamene venzochita kwenze venango vamene venzouza va government ma security wings venzo leaking isa information. So pamene vanangena muja munyumba vambo kamba vamene venzokamba venango ndiye vanauza wa security kuti kuno kuli kantu bwerani.
So there was a tip off. And that is how the security wing stormed that house. Unfortunately, munga mamene nezinakambira abantu benzena mfuti. So pamene vanawana vakapokola vabwera vanaamboliza mfuti mukati muja, vanaamboliza mfuti manje ngati muliza mfuti kapokola abwera vandani. So the exchange of guns.
Exactly. Benangu swa kamba kulika pokola wamene vana who was actually shot. There is a police officer who was shot. People don't know about this, because we are not talking about it. There was an exchange of a gunfire, benzo liza mfuti na bevi era mfuti osati mfuti zingono iyai ma AK47 muntu wanga AK47 manje imwe muganize kuli chipani chamene chinga ende my elections. Instead of kwendo chita campaign mwendo gula mfuti nishimufuna chani instead yakuti mwende mu campaign muzinguluke the whole country imwe mwatuma bantu kurasha na mfuti mwapezeka nazo era mfuti osati mfuti zingono iya ma AK47 na vinangu vamene wana mapeza mapanga vonse vanagula so siboza iyai siboza. And manje nimilonjeza kuti vazaenda kukoti ava vantu. It's not fake story. It's a real story. Osati tizina mana iyai ni hakainde ichilema. No problem, you see. Chamene chilipo uyu hakainde ichilema vantu sinizi bwino why vamuzonda sinizi bwino.
But there's a saying in Nyanja, kuti mutu kakura ule walini nkonya.
Kumati at least osati from nowhere muntu akuno kuchipata kuno umuzonda akainde ichilema umuzondera chani bantu bambiri no akainde ichilema umuzondera chani achita chani alakwa chani akainde ichilema. One of the problems, of course, is the social media, what people say. There are a lot of things that are said about this Hakainde Ichilema, which are not backed by facts. Hakainde Ichilema ni woipa mtima. Hakainde Ichilema, ni mutonga, batonga ni wantu woipa. You see?
And who is saying that?
Well, of course, these are general commentaries that are run on social media, which innocent, unsuspected citizens pick on. But what I want to tell you, in Hakainde Ichilema, at least I have an opportunity. Even me, ninagwera mamuri amene. Nezo muchita criticize wamene Hakainde Ichilema. But after encountering President Hakainde Ichilema ni muntu wa bwino. Hakainde Ichilema really ngati Hakainde Ichilema analibe mtima wofewa. If Hakainde Ichilema didn't have a good heart, I'm telling you, we would have had more people. Remember, for example, Brian Mundubire, and then muja munyumba muja. But wanamugwire. Okay? And vintu vinangu Hakainde Ichilema kamba iyai. For example, ba Edgar Lungu. Ba Edgar Lungu pamewe wanachoka mpawa. Hakainde Ichilema sana wakonke iyai. Like what we have been having in the past. In the past, we have a situation, President Akachoka Chabe ni kumukonka. President Akachoka Chabe, bamugwira, bamufaka huku chan. But Edgar Lungu, siwana mugwirepo. Chifuko wa Hakainde Ichilema is a good man. Wina kwa kakambati but bazamugwira chan, kai palipe mulandu.
In fact, I was almost saying that.
Yeah, but mukumbuka ija kulinkani zambiri muntu wanga. Kulinkani zambiri. That's why I'm saying that man is good. Because if it were me, I mean, it would have been a different story. For example, zijandarama zamene wanapeza kuli ujamkaza ati Faith Musonda. Uzikumbuka zija hard cash. Ma million, million 60, about 64 million kwacha. Banazipeza mu matranki. And palamwene wenzo chita investigate vinaenda vabwelera kuli mdala watu. Vabwelera kuli mdala watu isiyo. Haka inde ichilema anakamba iya. Viva lenkoni. Swana mgwile mdala chanchani vanavisia. Another incident I can give you. Bajo Malanji lero bali mchifungo. Bajo Malanji banatuma ndalama kutaki. Then atibagula nyumba. After batuma ndalama kutaki atibagula nyumba. Noenda na presidential jet kutenga ndalama zianozibweza muziko. Now, who allowed the presidential jet? Because presidential jet near President Chabe. So who allowed the presidential jet kuti yende kutaki? Obviously, Bamdana wanaziwa. And so, if Hakainde Hichilema was a bad man, he would have said, bwana nkuno tikambenkani. But nothing happened. Other people makambati but wanaenda panyumba pake, badula mageti, whatever. Ija ninkani inangu. Ija ninkani ya Amai Esther. Ba Esther Lungu ndiye nkani yao ija. Banasobe sandalama, medwa anababela ndalama, then batenga vintu chan. So ninkani inangu sinali nkani yawa Edgar Chagwa Lungu iyae. Ba Edgar Lungu subana wagwirepo. The other issue amene wakamba hapo maningi wantu. Anamulesa kwenda kuchipatala ni boza. Not even one day did Hakainde Hichilema stop ba Edgar Lungu kwenda outside the country for medicals. Not even one day. But bantu wata enzo mulesa iyai. Patikalibo shika ati why iya istinga shike chifuko Hakainde Hichilema lipo tifuna Hakainde Hichilema akachokapo manje imwe ndiye vamene nikambati alakwachani. So this hatred against the sitting president is what came even in the election period. That's why the opposition made it was a do or die, and thank God the security system was alert and they thwarted whatever they wanted to do. Otherwise, we would have had a mess.
Let's get back to the elephant in the room, the issues emerging after the elections. Let's talk about the petition. Let's spend more time here. Should it be heard? Because under Zambia's constitutional framework, a presidential election petition is supposed to be filed in the constitutional court within 7 days of the declaration of the results, and a filed petition is to be heard within 14 days. Now, the issue of the closure of the courts on August 24, the reported final day for filing, also triggered concern from the Law Association of Zambia, because of the potential effect on access to the court registry. Should it be heard? Why were all these delays and then court closure? Let's spend more time there as well.
Yeah. So I want to speak on this issue as Chilufya Tayali.
Okay.
Not whatever, just as Chilufya Tayali, I'm giving my view.
Right.
First of all, I am my elections. My opposition wanaluza. It's a clear fact. It's a clear fact, and there was no any other way you would overturn the results that we got on the 18th, on the early mornings of the 18th. There is no any other way. Vanaluza.
When you say the results we got, you have UPND as well?
Yeah. No. The results we got as a country.
Oh, okay, there you
go. As we got once, and I want to run so the results that we got from ECZ, there is no way you would overturn that. It was a landslide victory won by President Hakainde Hichilema. So when you now start talking about waluza, and you start talking about infuna niende kukoti, wenda kukoti chita chani, wenda kukoti chita chani, because waluza kudala, koti simapasa mavotes iyayi vantu ndiwe vamapasa mavotes so vantu vanamuvhotera akainde ichirema vanamupasa mavoti manje imwe mufuna muende kukoti kukoti zamupasa mavoti kulibe mavoti kukoti iyayi. So from my point of view, it is preposterous for anyone to think of challenging these elections. Okay, it is preposterous. And look,
well, what do you mean when you say preposterous?
Oh yeah, nafuna ukambati manje
okay.
Yeah, ni kusaganiza bwino ni kusaganiza bwino kuenda ufuna uenda kukoti. And why? The point is that first of all, you cannot change my results yaja vanaluza kudala. Secondly, ava vantu venzofuna chita agitate ziko, venzofuna kuti babwirise musokonezo. So apa pamene tiriri apa, the country is not yet very stable. It's not yet stable, you know, until uja president hakainde ichirema vamuchita swear in for the second term asankana ministers vake apanga government. But for now ni nthawi ya chitetezo, so you cannot allow ma situations yenangu ilo ava vantu because they were doing things underground but vambiri. So somehow vanagwira pona umozi waku high court. One of the workers at high court was actually arrested. Now when he was arrested, I don't know the details of what is behind. That is when you saw the courts being closed. I don't have a full knowledge of the security issues that were there, but I can tell you there is one guy wamene wanagwira waku high court banamugwira, and immediately after that they seized the court premises. So in my view, I will go by the statement that was issued by the police or the government to say there was a security threat. And now one of the problems that I have again with this is that ntawi zambiri vivaso vikachitika vantu niyakainde ichilema.
But obviously there are issues of public confidence. What happened to public confidence when people believe they were denied an opportunity to have, their case heard?
It depends vamene umverera.
Okay.
Vamene umverera. Public confidence comes from what you hear and how you process that. Ni chimozi na mukazi panyumba umusunga chabe bwino umupasa vonse, but kukabwera kamdala kenangu kamba nae ayayi iwe bread yamene ukudya ye kulibe na bata ine nikakupereka uzambo faka koma eggs chan. And of course if uja mkazi ngati sana saganiza bwino azamverera. So vantu vamverera vintu vambiri, and it's up to them to process problem. Vantu vavomera viri vonse uyo akainde ichirema wamene mubweresa mumulivu is not there. Is not part of it. Government ni ikulu, and when the peace of the nation is threatened, it is beyond the president. That's where you see when wenzo double wantu masoja bachoka ndiye nchito yao. Masoja ni kuteteza mtendere wa ziko. So each time there is a threat, vama choka to make sure that the country is at peace. And at that point, believe me, hakainde ichilema cannot save you. Even if you wapeze kana mulando atiai ekulibe. So the president does not interfere in the security and the investigations of our security wings. He doesn't. So don't once and nakainde ichilema here. So my brother, on this one, number one, I want to just emphasize this, is that my elections, the outcome, banawina vahakainde ichilema. Manje wa opposition wenzofuna bonesa msokonezo, and even petition ya mene wafuna ni musokonezo chape, because why wafuna what's the petition? Why wafuna what's the petition? What is it?
If an opposition candidate believes the election was not free and fair, should the courts, hear the petition regardless of, technical delay?
Muntu wanga, muziva, apa so, vantu vambiri, so they are not at ease. Vantu vambiri, the whole country. So you have the elections and you have two individuals. Ziko, it is more than 20 million people, and then you have just these two guys making noise. You go to court. First of all, you are exposing this country to instability. You are risking investor confidence. You are wasting time for government to come in. So, whilst it may look like it's a simple exercise, which is in our constitution.
Exactly, almost there.
Yes.
The constitution allows that process.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you see, the constitution is not cast in concrete. The constitution is for us.
Well, what do you mean cast in concrete? Just explain a bit there.
That's why we have been changing the constitution. We have been doing amendments to the constitution. The issue is that we make a constitution, but sometimes that's why they say a constitution is dynamic. Okay, you cannot just because the constitution says this. Then you have faced a situation where you need to think twice. You need to think twice. For example, I can give you an example. If the
Constitution says no one is above the law.
So, you are not a doctor. You are not a doctor, and then muri parodi mwapezeka mu accident. Mwapezeka mu accident. Pamene mwapezeka mu accident, you are not a doctor. Then kuli mukazi wamene ali na ali pa ukulu. And she needs help. Are you going to, because kumugwira uja mkazi, if you follow the law is like
you can't.
You can't.
You're not a doctor.
You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. But in that instance, umuntu watu, reason, you need to do what you have to do. You need to do what you have to do. Nichimozimoz na ziko. There are times when you need to do what you have to do to preserve the peace of the country. Because if you don't act, many people will suffer. Many people will suffer. So, anyway, what you do, there is no petition. And let me take this opportunity because futi pa social media vapena ngwa nama. Kuli petition. Kulibe petition and last day yenze yesterday. Kulibena ngwamene bakambatia bandani uko banatumina email kuliba chief justice chanchani kulibe ma court documents situma pa email iyai kumankala kupereka then nansimbi bachayapo na receipt bakupasa. Receipt is very important. You even attach it.
The judiciary has confirmed receiving an electronic communication containing a petition challenging the outcome of Zambia's August 13, 2026 presidential election. Because there was even a press statement that was issued by Deputy Director Corporate Communications Kalumba Sambashi Sleven, dated 25 August 2026. The judiciary says the communication was sent to Chief Justice Dr. Mumba Malila as a private email address by a member of the public.
So manje ngatufuna nchito ku Breeze FM. Si utumira email pali wankoma, pali private email yao, wawatumira kuti then wabwera wankoma ninachita apply kunkala ku Breeze. Nifuna nchito. You cannot. There are ways that you need to do these things. So, especially court documents, you don't just send email. I've found it.
That was the only way out because courts were closed.
No, that's not the only way out. That's not the only way out. I'm telling you, if they were smart, that's not the only way out. Mind you, lawyers are part of the courts. Lawyers. So, when they are telling me that, no, banatuma pa email, ni masewera maning. You cannot. How can you say
so
that?
So you're suggesting they could have followed the lawyer at their private residence?
Vamachita. Vamausha majaji. Judge, muntu wanga, judge, our 24/7. Kapena simuziva. I remember vividly there was an incident where somebody needed help. Vanaendo usha judge. I don't want to mention the name and the judge. 03 vama usha judge kumwendela pa nyumba. Judge angasaine mapepa. Vama kuwakonka even ku golf course. Si boza ivamene nikamba. Vaziva wonse vajavena linda kasonde chancha ni vaziva. They are part of the courts. And as part of the courts, they should be smart. Ma politics si avana here. That's why ni makamba. Ukaona mzako achaira huku. Iwe upichira huku. Banane pera bwanji kwenda ona judge umozi. Manje batuma pa email. Okay mumba malira wamenewe. Sibazi wa pa nyumba pake. Why sibana ende pa nyumba pake? Manje batuma ka email. Ni kuchuko. Kulibe. So inauguration ibwera baba. Tilina inauguration pa 1st September. There is no two way about it. And my brothers and sisters, we need to move on. Tifunika tiende pasogolo. We cannot keep on dwelling on the elections. Ntawu ya elections inasila bantu imwe. Let us move on. Let us now focus on developing this country. President Hakainde Hichilema promised a lot of things which he is in a hurry to deliver. Pameneti kamba hapa kulima teachers. Uzi wankani ya teachers wana wamene wafuni kongena nchito 2025. They selected a list, but they didn't release that list. They were about 2,000 that they had selected. But when the president was going round during the time of campaign, President Hakainde Hichilema anabwera aonjezerapo waja ma volunteers. Enzo wauza kuti imo ma volunteers nimipa sanchito. Imo ma volunteers nimipa sanchito. So they had to wait. Ija list ya 2000 ija. Vanzi 2000 sipana chise release. Babwera waonjezerapo 1500. So bazangene samanje 3500. Manje until government is in place, until Hakainde Hichilema is sworn in, achitana appoint Minister of Education. Baja wamene wafuna nchito, siwazangena nchito. Just because wina wafuna petition. Watayantawi. There are a lot of things that we need to do in the country. There are a lot of things that needs to be done. So manje chifuka chaku winangu hii sina wine whatever. Vafana kunja huku. Baembekeza nchito. Manje muzika mbapali petition. Yamene simu za chinja here. Simu za win or no win. What's the point? So there are things.
Which was democracy.
Yes, and sometimes we need to apply that democracy na mutu bwino. Na mutu bwino. Mkazi wa mkondesesa. Ni mkondesesa. Uyu ni mkonda. But osakisa turoti vonsi vapuba. Vilangu ni kukamba kwa tia inaiwe. Akafaka vipauda munga achokera kunae kuchani. Guys.
Dear listener, we are together on the governance show. I'm playing host to EEP President Chilufya Tayali, discussing a number of governance issues. We are live on a number of radio programs. Radio stations across Eastern Province. We're also live on Breeze FM. My name is Justin Monza. We have a few minutes before we wrap up. What next after inauguration? What is it in it, for Zambia from the UPND administration?
Very good. You see, this is why Nikambati, we are in a hurry. As a country, we are in a hurry to move this country forward. In the first term, President Hakainde Hichilema worked on some fundamentals. And the Benango went to Kambati, kulinjala, kulibendala ma, whatever. Now, in the next phase, in this next term, President Hakainde Hichilema, he wants to look at kungenesa vantu nchito. He wants to look at anwantu bakangena nchito. Bazapeza na ndalama. Ndalama si ungazipeze ngati susevenza. Ndalama si ungazipeze ngati ulibe chamene uchita. So, Hakainde Hichilema wants to ensure that there is economic boost. Economic boost muli chani. Economic boost muli agriculture. munaona akainde chilema anayomapo maningi pali agriculture tientilime is insisting, and that will bring an economic boost. Then kuma industries, because now there is investor confidence. Vantu bazambo bwela best pafesi paja akainde chilema bezomyangana na kaniso kamoza koma wamene uyu na eve azakwanisa. So now at least there is investor confidence. So we are expecting that there will be more investment that will come in this term, and that investment will translate into jobs, will translate into people having resources. My minds just say guka. Okay, that will translate into economic boost, money in the pockets, and better livelihood for the people. Bantu venangwezo kama malaiti ni boza whatever. Malaiti, these are there have been investment which has gone in, and investment will continue.
In fact, there's word that's been going around there. I know after elections, load shedding will be back. Maybe just clear the dust there.
Ndiye boza amene nikambapo hiyo. Ndiye boza. Ni boza. Paja maintenance na load shedding. We were relying solely mainly from Kariba on Kariba Dam. But now, when we had that situation, because of your drought, because when I'm going to come here, kunali chilala, everybody knows that. So after that, Hakainde Ichilema now brought my policies. Yatu masola pane wapa pamene nezobwela usiku. Musewa onse uyu. Mulituma light, tumasola panel, na ma street, masola panel yaliko. Chifukwa chani, Hakainde Ichilema brought that policy kuti ukabwele saka sola, si ulipira tax. So, malaiti yaliko chifukwa, there is an alternative source. Since the UPND came into power, they think they have added about 170 megawatts. And there are more projects coming. Hakainde Ichilema, in the previous campaigns, he was talking about each constituency using constitutional fund. Kaiba Zambo tenga 40 million. And he said, out of that 40 million, mupangeko ka solar electricity generation. At least Mustako could produce 2 megawatts. So it is not about my elections, no. It is about the extra investment that has come in, and these things will continue. So what you do, my brother, what I'm saying is that with the new term that Hakainde Ichilema has been given by the Zambian people, which I must say he's very grateful. I'm not speaking for him, but I know he's very grateful, and he's thanking all the Zambians. And why do I know this? He said it in his speech. In his speech, President Hakainde Ichilema nakambati, once whether unanivotela si unanivotela, as long as you are a Zambian, we should come together. That ndiye mao ya Hakainde Ichilema. Ayamika wonse, sayamika chabe wamene wanamvotela, ayamika wonse even bajamene si wanamvotele. Eve is focusing on development. So as he's focusing on development, na ife vantu tifunika tibwanji tigwepo, timutandize. We push this man so that he can deliver. If we don't push him, I mean, things will be difficult for Hakainde Ichilema. Hakainde Ichilema cannot develop a country alone. He needs all of us. So naimwe vantu kuno ku Eastern Province, osa enda chabe musanga kutenga mbeva iyai. You need to follow.
What does Muserela Kwakawa mean?
Muserela Kwakawa.
Yeah, there's a text message that Mr. Chilufya Tayali Muserela Kwakawa. We are in Easterners. I'm not sure what that means.
Aboni kuwasiya chabe ndia vamene sivaganiza bwino. Apa tikamba mfundo zikulu, so we cannot be bringing in to my petty issues. Tikamba big issues. Maona ndiye problem ya vantu. Tikamba bwino apa kuti ziko yende pa.
But what does it mean, Muserela Kwakawa?
Yes, I'll be digressing myself, discussing who you are. Many akapena kuchaya tuja
junta.
Kapena ntamena chaya huyo. Manje mbukonkele wa junta. Inakulisa.
We have a few minutes, but let's go. We're coming to the close of the program.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that, when the president accepted this, he said something which is very important, which I want to believe that everyone out there should embrace. The president said, the time for campaigns, the time for politics is gone. This is now time to work. This is not the time to look at each other. You new PND, you need NUP, you need EP. We need to come together. And the Hakainde Hichilema has a plan for us. But if we keep on being so negative, nichimozi uja muntu, afuna mwende pasogoro, winangu, hango donsa kumbuyo. Muzaenda bwanji kusogoro. Muzaenda bwanji kusogoro. So, let us support this government. And I'm not just talking from without. There are things here which you can point at. There is CDF. CDF ndalama zikabwera ma communities. Mufunika mwamvera pachilimbalero na miuza. CDF, make sure my MPs take them to task. Because in the previous term, my MPs benzo cha mingalato here and there, and the CDF yonzovuta. But this time around, I want you to know that CDF nindalama zano.
In fact, there's been concerns about, Kenya CDF, those benefiting. Olanga Pameso, maybe just talk about,
Exactly, that is my point, actually. That is my point. Mimi Pempa, once wamene mumverera program, mukaona MP, mukamuze, kuti CDF ni yatu. CDF ni yatu. Na budget ngati wapanga, vantu wafunika wagwapo. Bafunika bagwapo, ija CDF zonse zindandalama zija. It must be accounted for by the community. Not MP. MP alibe mpamvu zola mulila pali CDF. Ni vantu, ni ndalama za vantu. And these are the policies that Hakainde Hichilema is bringing. Surely, why should we hate him for that? Then, chuchukeapo, free education. Please, kuti muntu, ankale muntu bwino. Ine pamene ni mwani uona pano. Na choka kulusaka, na chimotoka chikulu, na valako na maglasses, na kunenepa.
Ndipo mwanenepa.
Chifukwa cha mapunziro.
Okay.
I'm a very poor guy. A very, very poor guy. I grew up, my mother is very poor, was very poor. But because of education, here I am, tipezi kako da pachilimba pa brace, maona. Ni mwaiwe. Na imwe, take your children to school. Hakainde Hichilema is saying, take your children to school. So, free education is there. Feeding program, make sure, vilikwe. And then, apart from that, let me tell you.
We have 2 minutes. Let's conclude there.
Okay. Bantu wavutika. Wajamene wavutika. Hakainde Hichilema cares for them. How does he care for them? He is giving them social cash transfer. Cash for work. There are a lot of projects or policies which this government has put in place to ameliorate the suffering of the poor. Osati muntu alipa social media na tubando to pimisa kamba chizungu chanchani but mambara alichabe mu blanket safu na no sevens ndiye wamene wakambisisa maningi makamaka kuli tuma youth tuna ngutu to kutikango kamba imwe muzimvensesa bwino leka niziko yende ipasogolo. Let us not remain behind. Let us unite and make one Zambia, one nation.
Your final bye-byes to the people of Eastern Province?
One nation, one people. No, inendikuti chabe ziko mokwambili, and I'm saying, please, let us rally behind our president and the government that is going to fall. Inauguration iliko pa 1st September. Ngatsimu ngakwanise kubwera ku Heroes Stadium, muzatamba pa TV. So once tukatambe, inauguration is ankalako pa 1st September, pa Tuesday next week.
Dear listener, we leave it here for now. I've been talking to President Chilufya Tayali, the Zambian politician and president of Economic and Equity Party, an opposition political party in Zambia. Previously, was a leader of civil society before joining active politics when he contested to be mayor of Lusaka in the capital of Zambia. Thank you so much for coming through, sir.
My pleasure. Manje tiendi mutsambisi kumendo kaiti manje.
All right. I've been your host, Justin Monza, for now. Bye-bye and keep listening.